Hey guys! Today we are going to be learning about a new way to use some materials that we already know how to use, but I know kind of a fancy trick on something cool we can do with some markers that you probably have already used lots of times before. So today we are going to use some Crayola, just regular markers, and we're going to use those in combination with some water, and I'm going to show you some cool things that it can do. And maybe you'll want to give this a try today. So check out this video and see what I do with my markers and water. Okay, so for today's lesson, you will need some Crayola washable markers. I guess they don't have to be Crayola, but they do need to be washable markers and not Sharpies or permanent markers, because those won't work for this. And then you'll probably need some paper and a pencil, and also you'll need a paintbrush and some water. So first you need to decide what you want to draw, and today I decided on drawing a bird. So I'm going to draw a bird that is sitting on a branch. And I start with pencil because I always make mistakes, and so if I make a mistake I can erase it, but I'm just going to go ahead and start with a bird shape. Again, you could do anything you want for this. It could be any type of drawing. You could even just skip the drawing part altogether and just do some lines and shapes with the markers, but I decided that I wanted to do a bird. Okay, so next what you're going to do is you are going to start coloring in your object, but really you're just going to kind of do the outside edges, so almost like you're outlining. You don't want to color the whole thing, because then you're going to take paintbrush and water and you're going to go over that, and you're going to notice it almost makes it like a watercolor paint, and you can take that color and spread it all over that part that you want it on. So I'm going to switch colors, and I'm going to just trace around the edges of the shape that I am doing. So I'm going to go around the edges or the outline that shape, and then I'm going to take some water on my brush and I'm just going to paint right over that marker, and it's going to spread. So just kind of like watercolor paints, it's going to kind of spread all over. So just a reminder that since this is really watery, it's not going to hold detail, like really tiny details, very well. I'll show you a way that you can make your details pop out again at the end. But right now it's just kind of fun because the colors start to mix together and they blend, and it's really a lot like painting with watercolor paints. But it's kind of fun because it's a different way to use markers. So again, I'm just tracing around the edges. One thing you want to be careful of is you don't want to draw over a wet spot. So you kind of want to make sure you're not jumping around with your marker. You want to go, from the inside out or one side to the other. But I wouldn't want to draw over a wet part with a marker, because I don't want to ruin my markers. So just basically tracing over my pencil lines, and then take the water and color it in. This one I didn't even add marker, and I still had enough color on my paintbrush to add color to my branches. All right, now I'm gonna let it dry. So this is what my bird looks like after the paint started to dry a little bit. I could totally leave it like this, and I could just be done. I could also do the background a little bit more, But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let it dry all the way, and I'm going to come back and show you how you could use a black marker to go back and add some details in and show you what that looks like. Okay, so now that it's dry, I'm going to take a black marker and I'm going to go back and I'm going to trace over some pencil lines and add some more details. And here's what it looked like after I added the details with a black marker. Again, you would want to wait until it's all the way dry. You could use a black Sharpie for this part if you wanted to, but I just used my regular Crayola black marker. And since my painting was all the way dry, it did just fine on there. But you do really want to make sure that it is all the way dry before you draw on top of things like a painting. But hopefully you give this a try today. It's kind of a cool way to use markers in a new and different way.